I begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of all the unceded lands, skies and waterways on which we gather today. As I begin this important work in this place called Parliament, a place that was built by the colonisers of Nam, I pay my deep respect to the ancestors and elders of Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung country of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respects to Indigenous leaders here, including Member of Parliament Sheena Watt, acknowledging her ancestral and cultural ties to the Yora Yora Nation, as well as any other Indigenous leaders with us this evening in the chamber. Whether it is concrete, soil or gravel, wherever I walk, I know I am walking on Aboriginal land. Always was and always will be. I would like to acknowledge faith leaders, community leaders and elders in the gallery this evening. Talofa lava, maloe lele, nisa bula vinaka, whakalofa lahi atu, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. I've had the privilege of attending many welcome to country ceremonies, but one led by Sue Hunter, Commissioner of the Yurok Justice System, had a grounding effect on me. She spoke of Womanjeka. Womanjeka meaning to come with purpose, reminding me that any space I walk into, to always come with purpose. My fellow colleagues and community, I rise today with pride and a sense of duty to give my first speech, to accept the responsibility before me, aware of the sacrifices, trust and faith borne by all who have come before me, to be the next Greens representative for the Northern Metro region. Let me begin by thanking my indomitable predecessor, Samantha Ratnam, for her relentless and courageous service. Sam, I won't look at you. You have decided to step up to contest the seat of Wales, and I have no doubt that you will bring a new world with you. Your enduring spirit for a better and hopeful future for all is what I will carry forward. Thank you for being a tenacious warrior. I am delighted to join in a shared vision with my Greens colleagues, a vision that amplifies empowerment in communities, and to be at the interface between people and justice for better social, cultural and physical environments. I was drawn to the Greens because of their genuine commitment to the planet, social justice and dedication for a better future that includes everyone. Nelson Mandela boldly said, "There comes a time in one's life when one is faced with only two choices, submit or fight." I choose to fight, to defend people, the planet, freedom and our democracy. I am not here just to fight for my people. I am here to advocate for all people of the Northern Metro region. This region is a vibrant and diverse area, spanning Melbourne, Richmond and Brunswick, and extending to the rural plains of Kaukalo. It boasts a rich cultural tapestry, from the vibrant arts and music scenes in Northcote and Preston to historic architecture of Essendon and nature reserves in Greenvale, to where I proudly grew up, Broadmeadows, affectionately known as Broadie. But the socio-economic reality of this region is one of stark contrasts. Intergenerational wealth thrives alongside persistent poverty, with many hustling to break through the mould. While some enjoy inherited stability, others grapple with the simple act of not being included, feeling left behind by unequal development and economic stability. Parts of the region face challenges of below-average education outcomes, high poverty levels, housing unaffordability, and limited access to essential economic and social infrastructure. This relentless disparity must be countered with inclusive growth, a growth that truly serves the aspirations of all communities in the region. My family and I arrived in Victoria in the late 90s in search of better opportunities and a better life, all while understanding no road to liberation, success and equity is easy. I am one of 6 kids, and if you know Islander families, we do not come in small packages. We come in big boxes with lots of bubble wrap, where you always have someone to catch you, guide you and counsel you. I have most of them here today. I would like to pay tribute to my parents, Paul and Tawalongomai, who are here in the gallery, for being staunch knowledge holders, cultural protectors, faith leaders, community builders, showing me a values-based leader is someone who listens with humility, speaks last to hear others, and balances the power of peace and decisive action. To believe in the mana of who I am. To my siblings, Junior, Lay, Emmy, thank you for catching me. My sisters-in-law, Alexandria and Charlene, and my beautiful nephew, Hugo, and niece, Ellery, who complete our family. Ainga, the Samoan word for family, is the heart of our culture, and I want to extend my gratitude to my ainga, the Tu'au and Gray families, to the Glenroy e Whakasa family, and to the Greens family. Thank you for your support. To our community elders, dear friends and supporters here and abroad, thank you for your prayers and fellowship. I would also like to thank my family, my husband Jeff, who juggles his own professional responsibilities and supports me, and the sunshine of our lives, our boys, G and Al. Your curiosity, your encouragement strengthens me every day. Mummy loves you. Growing up in Broadie was both good and hard existence. I love the fact that we grew up with families of different cultures, sharing in stories of resilience and collective experiences. But on the other side of this was hardship. Anytime you said you were from the 3047 postcode, immediately expectations were lowered and stigmatizing actions were instant. For a long time, I didn't feel like I had the power to determine my future. But as I grew older, my community showed me that while I can't see my future, I could change my circumstances. I graduated from Panola Catholic College as one of only 4 Pacific Island students. From those 4, one became the first Pacific Islander to play in the AFL, and the other, me, the very first Samoan MP. Not bad for a couple of local brown kids. Margaret Thatcher, the former UK Prime Minister, once said, "There is no such thing as society." It was her belief that individual success is a personal responsibility. But this perspective fails to acknowledge the collective strength that drives progress. In Broadmeadows, our achievements are a testament to the power of community, our families, villages, and our society, all working together to co-create opportunities for the next generation. I had always known I wanted to give back to my community in some form, but I knew I needed to get some professional experience. I started working with vulnerable groups in homelessness, both adults and young people, learning deeply about the pervasive intrusion of trauma on people's lives and their aspirations. I've worked in family violence advocacy to fight for culturally specific services for migrant and refugee women and children, communities too often overlooked by a system shaped through a predominantly white feminist lens. I have worked in multicultural foster care to ensure that children and young people removed from their homes remain connected to their culture, honouring their fundamental cultural rights. I founded Engage Pacifica, a very small grassroots community organisation, in response to the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 on our Pacific Island community. I had reached a juncture where I could no longer allow others to dictate what we could or couldn't access. Representation matters, not just for our community, but for all marginalised communities being met with one obstacle after another. They say you can't be what you don't see. I say, don't be afraid to be the first. As a Pacific Islander, we are the people of the Pacific, tangata o le moana. The moana for our island nations represents our sacred stories of courage and our relational bonds to the oceans and ancestral land. Our islands are on the front line of the climate crisis, where communities are vulnerable to rising sea levels, with many facing the prospect of never being able to return home because it's underwater, gone forever. Our Pacific neighbours, from Kiribati to Tuvalu and Marshall Islands, will be among the first climate refugees. Rising tides and environmental degradation are forcing them to migrate to countries that do not share their cultural history, endangering their cultural rights and potentially giving up their sovereignty. This displacement is not just a matter of survival for our people. It is a profound loss of identity and self-determination, as entire nations are pushed to the brink by the climate crisis. For some sitting in this chamber, this may feel like a distant problem, but for many in our region and here today, the climate emergency is no longer a future crisis. It is a present reality that demands our immediate attention and action. In Victoria, we have seen the effects of the climate breakdown already. Bushfires, scorching heat waves, droughts, record-breaking floods, no longer 1 in 100-year events. Yet we continue to delay urgent, bold action on these ever-increasing climate threats. The thing I've come to understand about the climate emergency is that if one is profiting from the climate crisis, it is not in their interest to pursue climate justice. We need to move on from performative politics and work towards a collective solution that constrains global warming from surpassing the irreversible 2 degrees, the point of no return. I have met many in the community who, despite living in a wealthy first world country, struggle to make ends meet. I've met people who drive 40 minutes to the cheapest market every week just so they can save about $30 on groceries, even though the 2 major supermarkets are just up the road. We should never lose sight of the fact that the cost of living pressure and housing crisis are devastating so many beyond these walls. As elected representatives with different political persuasion, we may not reach consensus on everything, but we do share an inheritance: to work together against pervasive and persistent systemic racism and discriminatory systems that polarize our societies. My people and I sang from the corridors this evening, then we were moved to a room, but we sang with joy, pride, and humility, because that is who we are. We were banned from sharing a small part of our culture with you this evening, a part of our culture that comes into this place with peace and goodwill. I urge you, it is not my community you need to be scared of. What you should be scared of is the fear you hold in your heart for communities that are not representative in this political institution. We have missed an opportunity to embrace what makes Victoria great, and that is our diversity in all its forms. I will not be the last to request for cultural rituals to be shared, but I do hope that for the next person representing a different part of our society, that this institution makes space for them and who they are. In my culture, our strength comes from community. I am here to share power with people, not over people. When we bring together voices and lived experiences from all walks of life, we are all powerful. Thank you, Mr. President.